The first time I came here in 2018, I had a lot of talks with trainers, with the local team, with people from abroad here, just like now as they gathered from different nations. And I started listening to them. What are your issues? What are your challenges? Because of course I was also marveled at the stand of the maize and all the crops, and I was marveled with the integration of the gospel into agriculture. But I also know reality sometimes is a little bit difficult, more difficult than just in the training book, right? So I had a lot of conversations like, okay, what are your struggles when you are out there in the community? What do you feel? Are you equipped enough? Is that training manual enough for you? Do you need more? What do you need? What are the challenges, Hazel, on the office, right? Or the administration that is on the backside of everything. And I met guys like Paul, training hundreds of farmers. Hundreds of farmers. I met guys like Titus, who was collecting farmers. There's guys out there that train thousands. Really. I heard a testimony in September, they trained 1/3 of all the smallholder farmers of Rwanda. Can you imagine? 3 years ago, we had the privilege of training 29,000 farmers in Angola. How on earth do you keep track of that? So I asked Hazel. Well, they come down from the field and I'll ask them, how was your training? Yeah, it went very well. How many people were there? I think there was about 50 or maybe 100. Did you collect the names? Yeah, wait a minute. Here's the names. Did you take pictures of the crops? Yeah, I have 55 pictures of cauliflowers, but I don't remember which name was which. I think this cauliflower number 1 is Brian's. Cauliflower number 2, that must be Greg's, eh? This big one, that's Matthew's. Can you imagine what a challenge it is? So we started dreaming. Back home we started praying and dreaming, and we realized maybe we can serve these guys who are serving by building an app that's actually available offline. When they are out there in the rural communities, that they have their handbook at their fingertips. What was that ratio for the compost again? What was the distance for the soybeans again? You have it at your fingertips, offline. Yes. So that's how we started dreaming and praying into it. Also, we started realizing we needed something for registration of all these farmers. How do we keep track of them? And why is that important? Our testimonies are lovely and wonderful. If we can back that up with data, it's a lot easier for us to raise funds. Now I give the words to Dorien. She will talk you to the product, because after 4 years of struggle and faithfulness, it's finally there.
Thank you. Yes, I'll take you through some of these slides. And as I talk you through, there's 3 reasons I want to share with you why you might want to use the app. Both if you're a farmer yourself, but also I've talked to so many of you who are both farmers and trainers. So there's value in the app for both of you. So this is what the app looks like on the right. And the next slide will show you, I think, how you get the app. Yes. So obviously you'll need an internet connection, and then you go to the Google Play Store. At this moment it is available only for Android phones. If you have an iPhone, sorry, we're working on that and hope to release that soon, but we figured most of the farmers that are using this will have Android phones, so that was our first step. Go to Google Play Store and find the Tree of Life Trainer app 2022. You'll find that there are 2. The one is an old version that we leave on there to make sure that people who already have it can still access it. But the second version is much improved, and so choose the 2022 one. Then click Install and Open. Probably have done that before. And then it'll take you to this screen. So this is where you log in, choose a password. It'll send you a verification code to your email. Make sure to check your spam folder. If you have a Google account, check your promotions folder, because it always ends up somewhere where it's difficult to find. And then this is the most important. So the first reason, I mentioned I'm going to give you 3 reasons why you might want to use the app. And the first reason that Christian has given away a bit already is to have the trainer manual at your fingertips. Maybe you don't mind carrying the little booklet to the field or to your trainings. That's great. But you always have your phone on you, I assume. So know that it's in there. The entire training manual is in the app with the videos. So if you're in an area where you have mobile data, you can't only read the trainer app, but you can also show the videos. There's an interview with Brian. There are different, almost every chapter of the training app has the video with it. So use that. That's under the little farming icon, the second one from the top. We also have the finance manual in there, and there's another piece on self-reliance. So you have everything at your fingertips. The second reason why I think you might want to use this, and this was mentioned on the first day when Joe and Paul were up here, is part of the faithfulness of using what God has given us is to be meticulous. And we realized that Joe and Paul kept very good records of whom they had trained, of their harvests, of all the data that is relevant to them. And we want to encourage you to do the same. You can add farmers here. So every farmer that you have trained, you can fill out this little form. It shouldn't take you more than 3 minutes per farmer max. And you can keep a record of who they are. You can save their pictures. So yesterday, one of the speakers here mentioned how we want to show that we see people and we know their identity and they're special to us. So this app will help you. Hopefully, if you're like me and you're not always great with names, you can save the picture and save the name with it. If you only come back 6 months later, you can go back through your list of pictures and see who was who. And you can add a harvest. So if you do this faithfully every year, by year 6, you can remind both yourself and your farmer that, remember, before you had the Foundations for Farming training, your harvest was this, and today it's this, and you're doing this many new crops. And so it's both to motivate yourself and your farmers, and to show what God has been doing through Foundations for Farming in their lives and in their farming. So all of this is adding a farmer and adding the location. So you can also know exactly where the farmer's field is. And this is both for yourself, but of course we're trying to imitate Jesus in his unselfishness as well. So as Christian mentioned, this is also for the benefit of Foundations for Farming. They will be able to see your data, and they can use it also for fundraising and for showing people what God is doing through Foundations for Farming. So this is, I won't go into too much detail here. But yeah, the third reason, so if you've taken note, the first one was to have the training manual at your fingertips. The second one was to keep the data and be meticulous and be faithful in that too. And the third reason, actually also connected to the unselfishness, is to be able to share what you've learned with others. We pray that everybody that uses Foundations for Farming will start using the app as well. And we know that that's going to be such a great wealth of knowledge that's in there and experience. So that if I am training people in Ghana, and they ask, actually I was talking to farmers just before we left, and I asked them, I'm going to this conference, there's so much experience, there's so much knowledge available at the conference, what do you want me to ask them? And there was one farmer that had done quite well already, and he said, I did 20 acres last year, but there were elephants that just at harvest time they came and ate all my crops. So what do I do against elephants? We don't have that many elephants in Ghana, so there are not many peers that could teach him. So this week I talked to Wilhelm, who's from South Africa, with many more farmers, many more elephants, I think, than in Ghana, and he was able to give me some advice. And so that's what we also wanted in the app. It's a social media platform, do we call it social media? I don't remember, but it's like a discussion platform where I can ask questions to anyone else who has the app. So I can ask, how do you deal with elephants on your farm? And hopefully there will be one of you that has had to deal with this before and can advise me. So that unselfishness too. Whatever you have learned, it's great if you're willing to share that with others, and also if you have questions, put them on the platform so that we can all learn through this when we're back in our countries. The last thing that you called me a techie tech, the actual real techie techs are back in Ghana. This app has been developed by Africans, for Africans, and into the world. We already have downloads in India, Mexico, Brazil, Angola, many different places around the world. So yeah, also a big thanks to the real techie techs in Ghana who are developing this. Thanks.